At this point, you have a perfectly functional portfolio, even including the dashboard where you can log in or even register if you need at this point. Actually, the users can get in contact with you, get the list of skills, get the list of projects, and well, what we are going to do during this section is to prepare our project to get an actual dashboard, basically an admin panel where you can manage the skills, manage the projects, and all of that. It means create, edit, remove, and eventually show. So for that, we can essentially log in. We can go to our admin user. And well, we are going to start working here. We are going to remove all of this. We are going to change that for our own table with a set of actions or resources that we can handle. Essentially, once again, the skills and the projects. And in the way we are going to prepare our project that is specifically for this class to be able and handling essentially the authentication process, the security for our dashboard. So we are going to move all the routes and all the actions related to the dashboard to a new routes file that we can handle and make sure that all the authentication and security validations are done. So let's start with that. Essentially, the first role that we have here related to our dashboard is currently on web.php, which is exactly the dashboard one. We can see this here. So we are going to remove this from here and we are going to put it in a new file. So let's duplicate this, which is going to be dashboard.php. Then we are going just to remove all of this. We are just going to keep only the things that we are going to use. So we don't need project, we don't need skill, we don't need contacted message, and we don't need the contact controller for now. And well, we are just going to replace the actual route that we had. Of course, we need the definition of inertia, we need the definition of route, and well, we don't need here the case of application, so we can remove it as well. So essentially, we are just going to dashboard, but we can simplify this a little bit, removing this and saying that every single line that we have here, every single route is gonna be using the dashboard prefix. So we are going to have, for example, dashboard in the root, dashboard skills to handle the skills, dashboard projects to handle the projects. And well, that means that as we have a new file with the new routes, essentially we need to register this new element. And that can be done directly in app providers. And of course, we have the route service provider. In fact, here we are registering all the routes for the APIs and for the web. So we are going to do basically the same in our case for, well, the dashboard. So let's copy this inside these rows that we have. And we are going to have first, the prefix is gonna be dashboard. And then the middleware is gonna be web, essentially the same that we have here, of course. But additionally, we are going to have the middleware that verifies that there is actually a user correspondingly authenticated here. So we are going to use only web and out. So automatically all of our routes are protected by an authentication. That means that no one without a valid session, without a valid account can log in and enter any of the actions that we are going to have in our dashboard.php file. And talking about the dashboard.php file, well, we need to go there. Routes dashboard.php. We don't need nothing else, but if you want to modify something else, add a different prefix, add another middleware, well, this is the place to do that for you, of course. Once it is done, that means that we can register our own routes, and we are going to do in following classes. We are going to use all of them to create, to handle the skills in general. So we are going to register our resource route for first the skills, and this is going to be for skill controller, of course. And well, again, we are going to need now the definition of skill controller now that we are using it. And essentially, we are going to have the same for projects. And this is going to be project controller. Now, in both cases, we are going to accept a set of routes related with the resource project. Basically, when we create a resource route, we are getting the index, the update, the show, the edit, the remove, and all of that. But essentially, related to edit and update, we are going to keep those essentially in our index view. So we are going to proceed of all of those. We don't need them. So we don't need the show, we don't need the create, and we don't need the edit. All of that is going to be in our single page application into the index. We are going to use a modal where the user can create or can edit an existing element in the table of skills of project. So in an array, we are going to accept, as I said, the create. This is basically the action that is going to return the form with the creation, so we don't need it. We are going to put that directly in the main view here in our dashboard, and then the same for show and edit. So once we have that, we can go remove this, and we have all the routes that we need. Remember, all of those protected and using the prefix of dashboard. Eventually, if we go to our project and issue PHP artisan route list, you can see, of course, if I import the definition of project controller here, I just missed that. Let's verify. Here it is, skill and project controller. Let's try it again. Here it is, the list of routes coming from, of course, all of those are from Ignition. We don't need to take care about that, but here it is, the dashboard in the root, dashboard projects, and the same for skills. To create, to put or patch, and to delete. All of that is perfectly functional, so we already have the routes. We already moved them to a completely separated file. And now let's finish with adding the essential look and feel of our dashboard, because we don't want to get this anymore. So let's go to our dashboard page, which is here in resources, JS, pages, and it is of course our dashboard. So, well, we are just going to remove the call to welcome, so we don't need these nor these, and of course we don't need this. And here inside we are going to have different things. First, let's move these to different lines to make this a little organized. So we have background white. We are going to preserve all of this. The same for the shadow. In this case, the rounded is going to be in all the resolutions. And additionally from that, we are going to use a padding of 6 to make this a bigger border. Let's say we are going to put a border gray of 200, and this is going to be distributed using flex in a column. So we are going to use flex col. And finally, the text is going to be a little bigger. So we are going to have text Excel. Now, inside, we are going to have a paragraph saying, hey, those are your resources. And we are going to have, of course, now the skills and the project. So we are going to have a UL. And inside we have two different list elements. So let's add some stylings here. Class for this paragraph is going to be a margin bottom of 5 to leave a space between the list and this actual title. And then we are going to have in the list only a padding of 3 to actually make this a little separated from the borders and give the appearance of being a list. Now, between those elements, we are going to have a div, which is going to contain, let's say, the symbol for the list. This is going to be a square. So we are going to have a margin left of 2. Of course, this is going to be in the classes. And we are going to say this is going to be row in the flex row, there it is. And the items are going to be in the center. Of course, just a little mistake here. Let's be a little organized. This is going to be for both of our lists here. This is, of course, a class. And finally, as I said, this is going to be a dot. We are going to put it. In fact, preferably, we are going to use a square. So it's going to be a background gray, 500, a margin right of 3, and a specific height, and the same for the width. Perfectly functional. So we are going to have a square with this specific height and width. And then finally, inside the list element, we are going to have the actual links. So we are going to have link. Let's use it. And remember, as we have the link component, as we did for the welcome page, we need to import the definition. So let's go there to copy and paste. We have here link. Let's go here in the dashboard, of course. And if you prefer, you can use even the head component and define the title there, or you can leave it as it is. There is no problem with that. Then, as we have only link, we are going to use it here. And once we have this imported, we can define what we are going to be inside. So this first one is going to be skills, and the second one is going to be projects. Perfect. Now let's define the styles for this. So in the first case, we're going to have a class, of course. And we have, once the user is over this, we are going to say that the text is gray, a little, let's say, darker of 800, and then we are going to put the margin top of 2 to separate this from the other elements. A text small, the text is going to be on indigo, 500, and we are going to put a border in the bottom. So we have border V, and this border is going to be of gray of 400, pretty consistent. And we are going to do basically the same in the case of the other link. So let's copy this here and put it here. So make this as a class, of course, here it is. And that means that we could go to our browser and refresh. And here it is. We have skills, we have projects, and essentially what we can do is just to create the links to go in there. Of course, we already have the controls, not the action, so this is going to fail, but we are going to advance a little with the process. So we are going to have an href here. It's going to be computed because we are going to use the route helper, going this time to skills.index, and essentially we are going to have the same here in the case of projects. So let's to keep this a little better. Let's to move this here and this here, of course, and the same in this case, of course, going, as I said, to projects. So if we go back and refresh, we can go there. There it is, and we click to skills. This is going to fail because, well, index does not exist, and the same in the case of projects. But yeah, don't worry, we're going to take care of all of those actions during the following classes. At this point, we have everything prepared for our dashboard, our admin panel of your portfolio. See you in the following classes.